Welcome to Toronto Enterprise DevOps Group. Today, I have a custom project called Leveraging Azure OpenAI to automatically troubleshoot and solve CI/CD problems. Going forward, a little bit about myself. My name is Khan Turgut. I've been working as a senior DevOps and cloud engineer for some time. I've been working on daily basis for Azure DevOps, GitHub stuff, more of a CI/CD stuff. I have built hundreds of CI/CD for multiple clients as I'm working as a consultant. You can hit me up, you can scan the barcode and hit me up on socials. I'm trying to be active on the socials. I have a YouTube channel, LinkedIn that I'm trying to share with the community. My tradition is I take from community and I give it back to community, right? As Max and Dave mentioned, I've been coming to events on daily basis. I started as an attendee. Right now, I've been getting requests, asked to speak if I can, and I'm trying my best to give back to community because that's how I improve myself, how I network with people. That's my core fundamentals. Going forward, today's agenda is what is AI? Then we go in AI in DevOps, and we go the fundamental service that we're going to use today is what is Azure AI Foundry. Then we're going to take a look at what is Azure AI Foundry services that it serves us. And the story, before going into demo, I want to share a bit of a story behind the project, how I came up with it, what are the problems that I faced, so I would think about this project. Then we go over the project overview real quick. Then we have the demo time. Hopefully it's gonna work. I've been trying for some time. Even Emin was in my notification chat. He has been telling me, hey man, stop sending automatic notifications at 1 a.m. Then I kick him up from the chat so he doesn't get it anymore. Then my tradition that I set up for myself on my sessions, I have a quiz at the end that for 10 questions, nothing fancy. For the top 3, I'm trying to give back to community like gifts, especially book if I can get some about the topic of the session, then some other tech related. Then hopefully we're gonna have a Q&A session if you guys have any questions. Going forward, what is artificial intelligence, aka AI, right? So I just want to ask before starting up, how many of you guys are DevOps or cloud guys? If you can raise your hand. What about devs, developers? Okay, bunch of. What about others? Project managers, QA testers. Dave's everything, so yeah. I know he's gonna raise his hand. Whatever you need, exactly. So I'm certain that if you're not an old-fashioned guy, you're using AI on your daily basis, right? It's whether ChatGPT or Cloudy or Perplexity or Copilot, whatever, for your daily tasks. But do we really understand what is AI? What are the fundamentals, right? So from my perspective, AI is a machine that can understand like a human being, right? It's a technology where a mechanism to simulate human intelligence. So these systems are basically designed to learn, designed to execute, designed to improve every day. But they're not basically learning or they're not improving themselves. Who are doing this? Us, right? Like human beings. So some of the examples of AI in action in our daily basis out of the technology stack is basically Teslas, right? Teslas are using very AI-driven technology, application, data-driven technology behind their system. So their cars are very intelligent because of that. As well as there are some driverless cars going out there from Tesla to other brands, which are no driver-based cars, right? The other thing is chatbots. One of the most famous is ChatGPT. I've been using ChatGPT for 2 years. I think it's been out for 3 or 4 years. But since I started using ChatGPT, my work, my productivity, my deadline, keeping up with the deadline becomes way better, way much better, right? Because as a DevOps guy, my job is to build, troubleshoot, and solve. That's all. when I have my ChatGPT beside me, like I have a mentor who knows everything perfect and who can help me. Not maybe solve it, but maybe give an example of what to do, like give a direction, give an idea. That's what it is. And the other thing is you might not know or see this scenes behind it, but Netflix, Amazon, like the shopping ones, and other big platforms are basically using AI, right? Like behind that, they have AI systems who detects what type of data is going on, what are the consumers' stereotype. They basically analyze everything with AI, and they populate the whatever the film, movie, or the product that you are willing to get it more, right? Myself and Dave won't see the same product on our Amazon page because we're probably not buying the same things. He will see products that is more similar to his taste. I'll see products that are more similar to mine. Yes.
You don't know Dave.
I'm just assuming because of the age gap.
Yeah.
Just assuming.
That's fair.
Right? That is AI. I assume we all know or have a taste of AI. Going forward, as this is a DevOps scope, we're going to talk about DevOps, right? What is the AI in DevOps? Like, how does it play a role in the DevOps field? Or what we have been using it for? I think AI is reshaping the DevOps discipline. As you know, DevOps is a discipline where you basically do everything, right? So how I've been getting like benefits from AI in the DevOps field is automating repetitive tasks. Like we've been automating stuff, workflows, like your infrastructure, cloud infrastructure, your CI/CD, your application deployment, a lot of automation that you can ever imagine. By AI, these are getting done way much faster from my perspective. The other thing, identifying anomalies and predicting failures. When you have AI in your system, when you have a good AI in your system, you can detect vulnerabilities. You can detect failures beforehand. So you can take action to prevent them actually, right? And the other thing is enhancing decision making. This is one of my favorite topics that I've been using AI with. So for example, I'm a consultant, right? I gotta know better than my client. I cannot ask my client, hey, how to do this? My client asks me that. What I do, when there's an ask for me, if I don't have an idea or if I have little knowledge, I go with AI. What I say, I have a conversation as it is my mentor, as it is an expert. I go back and forth saying, hey, I have this, what would you do? He gives me an idea, hey, this idea is good, but it doesn't fit in this environment. I have this type of environment, what would you recommend? Then we go from there and I take the task and get it done in a short amount of time, even though I don't know very much about it, right? Going forward, the core component, the core service that we're gonna utilize today is Azure AI Foundry. A little bit about the Azure AI Foundry. This service is basically announced at last Microsoft Ignite event, which was like November 2024, November 3rd, I guess. So the Azure AI Foundry is a robust platform for Microsoft AI platforms. Before AI Foundry, Microsoft had a couple platforms for AIs. For example, AI services, OpenAI. Those were like different products as well as cognitive services, all around, right? So what Microsoft has done with AI Foundry, what they were planning is basically they were basically merging everything into a single platform, like a GitHub, right? You have an AI of a GitHub. Think about that. In GitHub, you have everything that you need. In Azure AI Foundry, you have everything you need in terms of AI, right? Every AI services, seamlessly. Whether you're a project manager, whether you're a developer, DevOps person, you can find everything in there. That's an umbrella platform that Microsoft came up with. The key features of Azure AI Foundry is basically integrated model catalog, right? So we know that AI works on models. People basically develops models for their needs, for their industry, for the public needs, and they whether publish it publicly or they use it privately. So we have big companies like Meta, we have big companies like OpenAI, we have Microsoft itself who develops AI models for consumers to use, right? So what happens? Azure AI Foundry stores all of the models inside of it, so you can basically choose whatever model you want to use from different vendors. You have everything under your umbrella. And end-to-end development. So AI Foundry basically serves you in a way that you can pick a model of your choice for your need, then you have a bunch of AI services that you can use that model for. I.e., if you want a speech AI, like if you want a text and if you want it to talk, you have it there. If you have translation, if you want to translate one thing to another language, you have it there. If you want to have a vision, you have the vision service in Azure AI Foundry. If you have an assistant, if you want to customize an AI to be your assistant or your mentor, you can do it there. Image services, you can generate image. So think about AI, public AI like ChatGPT, DALL-E, and everything out there under a single umbrella. That's the whole point of AI Foundry. And of course, AI, when it talks with AI, if you're an IT person enterprise, we always talk about security, data regulations. What about my data? Where is it going? Are you going to use my data to train the models and everything? The AI Foundry fundamentals are basically serving as an enterprise level security and governance for your data. So you're in good hands with Microsoft in that sense. This is what AI Foundry is. A bit about the services, we already mentioned it. I just want to take a look here. So here, you can see that we have Azure OpenAI services. OpenAI is one of the biggest AI developer company, whatever you call it, out there, that Azure basically, as you know, invested in them and they're working very closely. We have OpenAI services in this Azure AI Foundry. We have language, speech, content safety, document intelligence, and other AI services that are going into Azure AI Foundry project resource as well as the Azure AI Foundry Hub resource. So what this means is, this is taken from Microsoft documentation. We have core 2 components in Azure AI, right? You can think this as if you're a DevOps person, whether you use Azure DevOps or GitHub, both of them. So you have, in your DevOps platform, you have your organization. Then in the organization, you have your projects that you work on. It's a similar approach that we have it here. The AI Foundry Hub resource is basically our organization-ish. You can think about it, right? You create one hub resource, and under that hub resource, you can create multiple AI projects for your needs, for your project, different projects. Then you have the Azure AI Foundry services in that project, your models and everything and going on. The storage account and the key vaults are basically specific for your secrets, to retrieve your endpoints, your API keys from securely from there for your storage and security needs. Right? Going forward, story time behind this project. So, how did I come up with this project? Or what is my project, right? My project is about leveraging AI for me to troubleshoot and give me the solution of what the failure in my pipeline. But what happened, like what did I see to have this idea? This idea has been in my mind for a year and a half. It basically popped up in my mind almost a year and a half ago when I was working. What happened was I was working in application support as a DevOps engineer. I was supporting multiple applications, website, and everything. Then during the day, we've been deploying. Even the devs, when they write code, they send it. They do like automatic integration testing, smoke tests, and everything, right? What was happening is they write unit tests, but sometimes they don't write it good. They write it good. Their code is not good. Unit test fails. What happens is my pipeline runs the unit test automatically, but when pipeline fails, everyone goes crazy. Oh my god, my unit test fails, like my application sucks, my code sucks. And they come up to me because they don't know anything about CI/CD. They don't even know how to go to the CI/CD, read the logs and everything. It's easy actually, right? But you might not know how to go in there, how to read it, how to understand it, where to solve it. We were using Azure DevOps at that time. Then we were using the unit test feature in the Azure DevOps, and on daily basis, devs write unit test fails, they come up to me. I spend some time to troubleshoot. Turns out that it's a piece of code that is broken in the code itself, not the unit test or not the pipeline issue. I've been very bothered because of this, because it was keeping me away from doing my task and everything. Then I'd be like, what happens if there's a way to do this automatically for me? So I can say, hey, this is your problem, it goes to you. If this is my problem, it comes to me. Not everything comes to me. I have other stuff to do, right? I've been thinking about this. I didn't have time to do this project at that time to automatically troubleshoot, understand, troubleshoot, and solve the problems. And it was the time. Today, we're gonna showcase how I did develop this personal project. And this is actually a draft project. There are a lot of improvements that can be done to this project because it's part by part. I just did a ideology project to share with you guys, and afterwards I have the repository open. We might can collaborate on that and improve it, make it a product, open source, whatever, right? But this is the whole idea, to make my life, my DevOps team easier, because we were only 2 DevOps guys. There were 20 devs, 5 to 6 QAs, 2 DevOps guys, but we were cloud guys as well. Going back and forth on cloud, CI/CD application infrastructure, it was crazy times. But I'm glad, I learned a lot. Going forward, project overview. So I have the GitHub repository. This is the link, you can search it up, but I'll probably share it some way. This repository is public, yes?
When you get a chance, when you put this on YouTube, just put a link in the
Oh yeah, I'll do everything, of course. So I'm recording because I have a YouTube channel, as I mentioned. I'm gonna edit and put this presentation on YouTube as well, everything. But I'm trying my best to write a comprehensive README files for my repositories for someone who doesn't know what my project is, to take it, read my README one by one, and accomplish my project from scratch to, you call it 0 to hero, right? That's what they call. This is my repository. We're gonna go over my repository in a second, which is done. It's demo time. Cool. So, what I'll do is, I'll go to my repositories. I go into my repository here. This is my repository. My repository is in GitHub, but my project is happening in Azure DevOps. So, this is my architecture that I kind of drew myself as much as I could. So, the overline architecture for this project solution is basically, you're an engineer who writes either Terraform, IAC, Biceps, or Ansible, whatever of your choice, or QA engineer or dev. You send it to repository. You have your repository. For me, I'm building up the infrastructure, so I have my Terraform CI/CD, which builds every Azure resource in the Azure side of things for this project. AI resources, key vault storage account, Foundry hub, Foundry project, and RBAC permissions for this project. Then I have a failing mock build pipeline, which is basically on purpose getting failed for me to be able to demonstrate this demo. Then after failing build pipeline, I have my AI debug pipeline, which is doing all the work, all the hard work. This is the hard work man. What it does, it basically takes a look at the failed pipeline, gets the build ID by script, that it basically retrieves the build pipelines logs from Azure DevOps API. It basically captures the error, specifically the error itself, put it in a JSON format. Then it installs the OpenAI Python packages, because I'm interacting with AI assistant with Python. Then it basically run my script, Python script, AI assistant script. We're gonna take a look at that. Then after my script is done, it outputs the AI analysis into a JSON object, sends it in an output file, then sends the output file to LogCap. Then my LogCap takes the schema, the analysis of the AI, takes it in a schema and send it to team's chat for team to analyze and be aware of the failure and what is going on, right? The Azure Key Vault, we need to have some sort of API key as well as the API endpoint for our AI services. We store them in Azure Key Vault, and we are basically utilizing those secrets in a variable group which are retrieving from the Key Vault in Azure DevOps in the pipelines, and that's all. Is there any question about the architecture? If yes.
So this doesn't have to be Azure DevOps.
Oh yeah, 100%. It doesn't have to be. I'm just
I mean, it's nice. We'll love it. Just pointing that out.
Yes. So it doesn't have to be. I just did it in Azure DevOps. You can convert the pipelines into GitHub Actions or GitLab CI, whatever of your choice, right?
Can you point it to the GitHub action runs and get it to do similar things? Or is it like tailored towards?
You gotta tailor it. The reason for that, the retrieving the failed build logs is done by Azure DevOps API. So you gotta use some logic for GitHub itself, right? But this is a general project that you can tailor for yourself, because not everyone uses Azure DevOps. A bunch of different CI/CD tools, or even your own CI/CD tools.
No one is perfect.
Oh yeah, agree. Going forward, we went over the project goal. We went over the tools, I guess. So we're using Terraform for infrastructure as code, Azure DevOps YAML pipelines for our CI/CD needs, Bash scripting for retrieving the logs, making some automations, and Azure AI Foundry as a AI services who's going to analyze the stuff, and Python script to facilitate AI services, interact with the AI services, and do all the good AI stuff. You can go through the README. I have detailed README what it's all about. So I just want to go from my pipelines. Actually, let's start from pipeline, what it does. Let me go to my code. I'll just show you guys the Terraform code real quick. I'm not going to deploy Terraform code today. It's already deployed, but what I'll do is, for those who's not familiar with Azure AI Foundry, I'll go to Portal. I tried to do it manually. We're not going to deploy it at the end, but we're going to see the steps that how to deploy it, and we're going to work on the deployed ones because no one is perfect, and I'm not sure if I deploy something, if it won't work. I don't want to go into those stuff, right? So I have a simple Terraform, Azure Terraform code. Are you guys good there, or should I just zoom in like this?
Much better. Thank you.
Much better, or just one more? This is better, I guess, right? Perfect. So I have my resource group. In Azure, you gotta have a resource group to store your resources into. I'm retrieving data, my client config, to able to work with my current subscription, current tenant. I'm creating a storage account to store some files and everything if you want to. A key vault to store my credentials for my API key as well as the endpoint. Then I have my AI services resource, which is utilizing the Azure AZ API provider, which is very, very recent published. Then what we have here, we have the role assignments for me to be able to work with the AI services. It's like an IAM in AWS side or Google side. In Azure, it's RBAC roles. I have my Azure API resource hub for my API hub, for my AI Foundry hub. Then I have my project. As I mentioned, it's my project that you can think as a project folder. Then it goes to AI services connection, and I think that's all. Going forward, my AI assistant, actually what I'll do is I'll go to the portal. These are my generated resources here. Can you guys see it well? Okay, just let me know if I need to zoom in. So, what's that?
He said zoom in.
Zoom in? Oh. Better? Perfect. So here, you can see that this is my AI hub, Azure AI hub, right? If I click on it, I don't see that much. It's a hub that I can launch Azure AI Foundry from. If I click AI Foundry has a different platform than the Azure portal itself, so it's gonna open it up. But it says enable to work in the hub. I need to select my project, or what I can do is I can go to my project, AI project, and launch it directly to the studio, and it's gonna launch my project studio here, right? As we mentioned before, in the studio itself, we have the model cat on the overview page. It's very simple. It's showing my project. What is my project? The project details over here. Then if you want to go with the basics, you can nail those. Azure has very fundamental approach to teach you and show you how to do what to do. And as we talk about the model catalog here, on the left panel you have your model catalog that you can find most of the models out there, and Azure is basically utilizing them. You can find one that fits your need and use it from here. We have GPTs, we have PHIs, we have llamas, we have a bunch more. We have smile faces and everything, right? Then we have our playgrounds. I made a video specifically for Azure AI Foundry on YouTube. I explain every aspect of Azure Foundry here, but we have our playgrounds. You basically create this resource, go to the playground, and you can basically play with the AI. You don't need anything else, and it's cheap. Like I've been using it. It's been a month since I didn't delete this resource. Maybe it's a buck or two. Like that's all. Nothing's fancy unless you deploy a good model that consumes a lot. But you have your speech, assistant, real-time image, healthcare, and language, which are pretty good. I would recommend go to the YouTube and watch my video over there. You have your AI services, which are more advanced capabilities of AI other than the playground that you can utilize in your apps, in your workflows and everything. Then you have a bunch more stuff that are going on. I'll skip through here. Going back to my repository, I want to touch base on my Python code, right? This is my Python code. How many of you guys are familiar with Python? Not a lot, but we quite understand it. Myself, I'm not a super fancy code writer. This guy is. He's my friend. He's one of the best devs out there. I can tell. But not myself. But I can write Python. I can automate a lot of stuff. I don't write applications, but I automate a lot of stuff. I work with it, right? So this code is basically some parts, like fundamental parts, are taken from Microsoft. Microsoft has a good documentation about it. I basically tailored down for my needs, for my fantasy world and whatever, right? So first, you gotta have your libraries. Like you gotta import JSON to be able to work with the JSON. You gotta import your OpenAI to be able to work with the OpenAI endpoints and APIs. The next thing is here, I basically, as I mentioned, I'm using OpenAI key as well as the endpoint to authenticate and interact with the OpenAI. Here, I put them as an environment variable where I will show you guys in the pipeline that takes from the variable group, which is taken from key vault. And if you tell me, hey Khan, where to get the key as well as the endpoint from Azure AI Foundry is, if you go into AI services that is created under your projects, you're gonna see it very clearly on the main page. Here, your keys, first and second key, your location, and your API endpoints. What is good thing? One of my favorite features of this, you can see language API, DALL-E, Whisper. All the API endpoints are same. One of the biggest feature of the AI Foundry is it is an umbrella service that uses a single endpoint, but by declaring in your script or whatever automation you are in, you can interact with the service of your choice with the same endpoint. You don't need multiple endpoints. Going forward, I'm gonna fast forward it here just a bit. I have initialized my OpenAI client with API key and endpoint here. I create an assistant for CI/CD troubleshooting. So the tool I'm using from this service is assistant, AI assistant. I need an assistant who's gonna assist me, right? So here, this is using the assistant endpoint, and I have a name for my assistant here. CI/CD troubleshooting assistant, and instructions. One of the biggest and the first rule of using AI as a consumer is prompt engineering, right? AI might do some stuff that we can do, but they don't understand like us for now. At some point, yes. You gotta let them know very clearly what to do, how to do it, what you need as an output. So I have instructions here to tell AI, hey, you are an AI assistant that analyzes CI/CD pipeline errors and suggests solutions. This is not very comprehensive instructions, right? But there's more. Here, as a tool, I use code interpreter. This means in my assistant, you can use code interpreter that can interact with your code itself, or you can use file, I don't know what was that called, but it can basically work with your file data. And here I have my model that is basically, I'm going to show it here real quick. So I have my deployment model, I have my deployment here, this is the name of my deployment, GPT-4o con demo. So I deployed a model that is using GPT-O in the background as a model, and I gave it a name. I'm using that model in my code to work with it. Then I create a thread for the conversation. We need to have a conversation with my AI, with my assistant. It's my assistant. I tell, hey, you need to do this. What's the output, right? So what I do is, before going here, read and parse pipeline error from JSON. This is the step where I get my logs, my error logs in the AI. Then we're gonna interact with it. But before going in here, I want to show you guys how do I get my pipeline errors. Yes.
Why that model?
Why that model? I wanted
There's
to.
so many out there, right?
There's many out there. Yes. Maybe there's more specific. Maybe there's a better model that is more fit for my project.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't research a bit. I just know GPT-O is a good model out there, one of the most famous one of the most performant one. So I tried to use, but there are a bunch of models, as you say. Of course.
You try and get some models, allows you to iterate for them, right?
I haven't, but I saw I was here when you did the presentation. Going forward, how do we get the pipeline errors, the fancy stuff, right? So here I have a failing build pipeline. That looks like this. The first stage, basically a mock failing stage, and the second stage basically triggers if my first stage fails. That is triggering my AI debug pipeline. What's happening here? I'll just show the YAML code of this pipeline real quick. I'm using Ubuntu latest hosted agent. I have a bunch of tasks here that are all failing, but different type of tasks. The first one is bash script, exit 1. The second one is Terraform script, Terraform task, which is missing backend parameters. The third one is my web app deployment task, which is missing zip files. All of them are failing on purpose to retrieve an error log. And the second stage is basically a stage that only runs if my first stage fails, and my second AI pipeline depends on this stage. So I have a trigger in my second pipeline, which I go here, AI debug pipeline, and if I go edit, you can see that I have a resource pipeline trigger here, which saying if this stage, trigger AI debug pipeline stage, runs and completes successfully from this pipeline, trigger this pipeline. So basically, if my first pipeline fails, which is my build or deployment pipeline, my AI debug pipeline goes into play automatically. What happens here, right? So we have a couple of variables. If you're familiar with Azure DevOps YAML structure, variable group, this is the group of my variables, which I can go from the library. What's that? Zoom in? Sure. Oh, this is too much. So if I go to my variable group here, you can see that my variable group is attached to a key vault that I have in Azure, which is retrieving the secrets from, right? So if I click on edit, you're gonna see all the secrets in this key vault, that you can basically retrieve the secrets without exposing it into pipeline or into your Azure DevOps logs. And to see that, if I go to my key vault and secrets, you're gonna see my secrets here, right? My path token to authenticate my agent in the pipeline to work with the API and everything. My LogicApp URL, we're gonna come later, but it's the HTTP URL of LogicApp. If you call this URL, your LogicApp gets triggered. Your Azure OpenAI key, as well as your endpoint. Going forward, this is our secrets. We have our first step in the pipeline. That is a script that retrieves the build ID. So I have a failed build, failed application build or deployment or your whatever build it is. I need to get a build ID of that build so I can work with the API of Azure DevOps, right? What I do here, I basically get that build pipeline's name here. Then I set an environment variable that retrieves the last failed build ID, right? The last one, not the other ones. When I have my ID here, my failed build ID, here's the fancy stuff. I have my bash script. I'm working with bash unless it's mandatory for PowerShell. On a daily basis, I work with PowerShell most of my clients, but personal, I'm the bash guy. So I define my variables, the build URL, right? So if you're familiar with Azure DevOps API, you have to have a build URL, which I put the ID from the previous script, and I echo the build URL to make sure I'm getting the right build that I want to work with. Then logs URL. This is the log URL that I want to fetch the logs from. It basically logs the responses in a good way and calls the API here, parse the logs IDs from the response, and it basically detects the specific error message, which is like hash error, starts with hash error in the pipeline log, detects the error, takes that error, put it in an object, and echoes the error in the same task to make sure that you got the right captured error from your failed build pipeline, right? Then you have your logs and everything here. After I have my failed pipeline error message in my AI build pipeline, what's going on is I need to have an OpenAI Python library in order to work with it. If you don't have it installed in your agent, I install that library, then I basically trigger my Python script that basically does all the AI work, right? Right now, we go back to the Python script where we left it. So here, we have our error log in a JSON file, right? What happens, the Python script triggers, does everything, and it basically have an error log JSON file that has the log in it. It reads it, it basically puts it, load the JSON data from the file, extract the pipeline error message, then it basically extract the file, extract the failed build link to put it in a JSON format. Then we add a user error message to the thread. We had a conversation with AI, right? Right now, AI knows what to do, but it doesn't have a context in it. What I'll do, I'll give the error to AI to help me out. Here, I basically put my content saying, hey, analyze the following CI/CD pipeline error and provide a potential cause solution in the following format: error explanation, error cause, and error solution. Then I give my pipeline error as a variable JSON object to this AI to analyze, right? Then I run the thread and poll for the results. Right now my AI have the context. It's time to run it and get the results. I call my API, I give the instructions once again. I say, hey, provide concise and actionable insights. Include any relevant debugging steps to make sure we capture everything and we got the right debugging steps. Then I define output file to output the AI response into a file to work with it later for the communication purposes. Then I check if the run is completed, right? The AI run is completed, the assistant output is clear enough. Then I iterate through the message to find the assistant response. I basically iterate through the file to see the response and put it in JSON format. Then I write the assistant output to a JSON file to output file here. Then I handle the case where the run did not complete successfully. You gotta have a debugging, like outputting stuff, right? God forbid if your Python script breaks, you gotta know what's going on in there. And you basically, at the end, write the assistant's output to a JSON file to send it to LogicApp for your communication purposes. This is the Python script that I wrote. Going forward, here, we triggered a Python script, all fine. Then we basically, I just want to make sure my output JSON that came from AI is looking good. It's not null. Sometimes it might come null. Hopefully we won't see it here, but when I tried it, sometimes the JSON outputs came null. I reran it. It comes as a field. So I'm not sure what's happening in there, but just so you guys know, then I basically need to send a post request to my LogicApp. I make sure my tools are installed in my agent machine. Then I send a HTTP post request to my LogicApp to get triggered and do the LogicApp flow, which is sending a error analyzed AI response to my team's chat to make sure my DevOps or my SRE teams are aware of what's going on, what are the potentials. Yes?
Why do you need the LogicApp?
What's that?
Why do you need the LogicApp?
Why would I
Why
need?
can't another Azure pipeline catch it?
Why to catch?
The failing pipeline, right?
No, this pipeline catches it. The LogicApp is for communication purposes. You have your result, you gotta let your team know what happened, right? Like, I have the response, how do I send it to my team?
Oh, okay, so you can...
It's a communication, yeah. You can. So I rather use LogicApp by other services, right? So I was gonna do it in the pipeline by SMTP protocol for email. I'll be like, okay, sometimes even if it's your personal project, you gotta do the right thing, like a real life, right? So I go with the LogicApp, which serves very good in this sense. Let me show the LogicApp before I do the whole demonstration, real quick. Here, this is my LogicApp. One of the fun stories is I redeployed my project for testing purposes. I forgot I put the LogicApp in the same resource group. It got destroyed because this was one of the hard things that I was doing. I had to redo it, but it's worth it, you know? So if I go to LogicApp Designer, it's very simple LogicApp actually. So I have a trigger. You gotta have a trigger for LogicApp. This LogicApp triggers when there's a HTTP request comes to this LogicApp URL. Oops, we went too hard. And the second thing is, you can see this is the response schema that I'm expecting from the call. So this is the same schema that my pipeline sends as a JSON. Then I have my parse JSON to be able to get that response into the JSON format for better visibility and workaround. So you see error explanation, error cause, error solution, and failed build link. So I'm gonna expect to fill the analysis into this JSON format. Then I have my last step, which is post message in a chat or channel. This basically takes I have this very simple message template that I get the dynamic values from the JSON that I retrieve, right? So this is the overview. Let's demonstrate. Let's see how it works. Hopefully it works. It was working. Just so you know, I have witnesses. Whatever. Right? Cool. So first, all I need to do is running the failed build pipeline. You can think this as your infrastructure or application build or deployment pipeline, whatever you need. And I will have a failed stage of deploying to app services. It's not gonna, so my failed stage is regarding the app services deployment. What I'll do is, I click on run my pipeline and run it. It's gonna take a minute to spin up the agent real quick. So here, my pipeline failed, my first stage failed, which is expected, and you can see the error is no package found with the specific patterns. And my second stage, which is triggering my AI pipeline, ran and completed successfully. So right now my AI debug pipeline got triggered automatically because of that stage, which is in queue. And if I click on it, it's actually trying to start. So my pipeline started. It's basically downloading the secrets from my key vault. It's checking out my repository, get the build ID. You can see this is my build ID, and it retrieves the build failed logs. This is the logs of the last failed pipeline. And at the end, you're gonna see my error message that we retrieve from it, which is, you can see the errors. I made this custom. It basically retrieved the error as this is the same error that we saw in the failed pipeline, and it basically does a custom script to make a failed build link to make sure when we send out the comms, whoever sees it, they can click and see the failed build. Then it installs the OpenAI package. It runs my Python script saying my output has been saved to this file, and I just want to make sure my output file is fine. Hopefully it's not blank right now. We're gonna see together. It is blank. So what I'll do, I'll just rerun my pipeline real quick. I'm not sure why it's happening. I couldn't figure out yet. It's maybe the model I'm using, maybe the logic that is sometimes missing because of some syntax or whatever. But when I rerun it, it usually puts the output. It's running my script right now. So again, I was scared of this, you know. Let me run the failed build pipeline again. Nothing has been changed. It should work. Sometimes it takes a couple tries. What?
It would not have been fun if it worked the first time.
Same, right? I mean, even here, when I show it here, like 4 hours ago before I come here, you will see a filled one, not the blank. Same, nothing changed, but it decided not to work right now. It happens. In the meantime, let me tell you a quick fun story. Azure AI Foundry, I learned this in a hard way. AI Foundry doesn't support AI Assistant in Canada, Central Canada regions. Works in East US or other regions. How I figured it out, I deployed in East US. I completed everything. I'd be like, I'm Canadian, man. Let's do it in Canada, right? I redeployed everything in Canada Central. Went into the project, tried to deploy the assistant. Gives me an error. It doesn't support in Canada. You gotta choose these regions. Redeployed everything, just so you know. Be careful. So it's running again. It's the other thing is I really like this process, which is very efficient and fast, really quick. Like my AI pipeline, I think it takes a minute to do everything and send out the comms if it works. If it works, all right.
There's a question.
Yes. Oh, sorry.
Why does the pipeline not self-heal? So you have built a prompt, it gives you a solution.
Yes.
Why not self-heal?
So it depends on your workload, right? You might have a critical application that might need database cleanup, that might need log cleanup, whatever. Like, if you were to do a self cleanup, what would you use in this scenario?
Like with the error?
Yeah, like when you say self-healing, what would you use to heal it and make sure it's working?
So what I meant is you will try one solution, like AI gives you 3 solutions. You will take one of it, put it in the code, see if it works, and then check into
like a rollback, kind of. So I work in Yes and no. In some applications, you gotta do manual rollbacks. As I said, you gotta clean up the database, send out the comms and everything. In the other side, if you're very heavy on continuous deployment, you don't need any manual intervention during the deployment phase. Yes, you have your rollbacks in place. If something fails, you go around automatically, deploys it, heals it, and deploys the previous version, whatever. That's doable, why not? But the whole reason here is, for example, infrastructure as code. When you take the infrastructure as code, it's not easy as the application side to auto-heal, right? Because you get a good plan when you're working with Terraform, but in the apply, if you're working with Terraform, it fails because of the quota, because of the conflicts, whatever plan API cannot handle. So in that case, you cannot auto-heal. You gotta change the code and everything. In that scenario, what to do? AI agents. In the future, we're gonna have AI agents who can do the automatic code fixes, send the pull request, merge if everything good.
That's what I meant.
Yes.
Or write the software that doesn't break.
Sorry?
Or write the software that doesn't break. Again, in my experience,
If you can.
self-healing requires, it's rarely a technical problem, right? Just, you need a lot of confidence in your process and the tool sets that you don't control.
Yeah.
So you can roll it back, but you probably might be causing a lot more you should roll it back.
You know what's funny? If you're too confident to deploy on Friday evening, you should do that. You should do that. Then you should be fine. Yes.
I have a question.
Yes.
Few questions. You hosting the agent by yourself, or you like leasing an agent? Like
The DevOps agent or
the DevOps? Yeah.
no, it's
You host it yourself?
no, I don't host it. Microsoft hosts it.
Okay, so you're using like a plugin that's supported like from the app stores for like whatever you need. Like
No. In the pipeline, you just have you just declare if you want to use the hosted agent, like here. You see, this is the Ubuntu latest, comes from Microsoft.
Okay.
It's a public agent.
It's a public agent, yes.
Did you try to think maybe you're out of quota for API call when you invoke AI?
Oh, that's a good question. When you deploy the model, you select the API token that you can utilize.
But that might have a quota.
Yes.
Based on your plan.
Yes.
Like
Exactly.
You'll have a pipeline, something will happen. Do you have something that notify you how many calls you have left?
No.
Okay.
I didn't think about it, no. To be
If
honest.
you think about
Mhm.
containerizing this so you don't have to install it every time you run.
Correct, yes.
So it will make it
Well,
shorter.
this can be improved a lot, like,
Yeah.
because I did an easy way to showcase you guys. I could use Azure managed DevOps pools to have a managed DevOps agents that I don't manage, or container-based agents that do everything for me. Sure.
And then the last one is that app that you use. Can you use any, like for communication, for example, for Azure DevOps, you can send an email when the pipeline fail as well.
Correct.
Can
Notifications, yes.
So can you send it there? Why do you need to build like a communication
I see your
app?
point. The problem with, not the problem, but limitation with the Azure DevOps notifications is you cannot customize the notification.
Uh-huh.
It basically sends out, if your pipeline fails, it sends out, hey, this pipeline with this build ID just failed
Right.
on this stage, go. I tried it I tried it so many times, it doesn't work, it has limitations. So for that sense, Logic App comes in play to make a customized communications and everything.
So just to make it customized, but can you do like Slack or anything else?
Oh yeah, everything. Whatever you
Does
think.
it need to go from that process to make it like more readable, or just you put the handle the endpoint?
I'm a bit picky, right? I want to see a good output.
Right.
If you don't want it, if you just see everything,
I'm just
set it
curious,
away.
I don't,
Yeah, sure. So hopefully right now we see it. We don't see it. I don't know why. Let me run it one more time. Last and least. But if it works, what you're gonna see is you need to see a response like this that tells you pipeline failure alert. That tells you the link. If I click on the link, it's gonna take me to failed pipeline. Then it's gonna tell me the error explanation. It's gonna tell me the error cause. It's gonna tell me the suggested solution as well as the code examples if there are any. But if it doesn't work like right now, it's gonna come as blank like here. But I'm not sure why it's not working, so we'll see.
You have a history before prompt for the that you sent already? On that
error and the
scroll back on the teams, maybe you can showcase it because you had it before.
Oh yeah, here. So here, so this is the
sorry,
you see this one? All good. So this is one of the thing. This is the web app deployment error. The other one is basically the bash error. My bash script fails, and it basically says this CI/CD pipeline process encountered an error in a step that involves executing a bash script. The error message bash exited with code 1 indicates that the bash shell script encountered an error or failure condition. And it says error cause, this might be the potential cause, and it goes with the solution, the debugging steps. Hey, do this in your pipeline to make sure you're debugging. Cool. And the last one that I showcased here is about the Terraform task, which we had the backend service arm parameter missing in the pipeline, and it clearly states here the CI/CD pipeline encountered an error that indicates a required input parameter. Backend service arm was not provided. Then it says error cause might be this, and suggested solutions are these. Right? Oh, there you go. It worked. So we got the working one. We got the working one. So if I were to go to the pipeline itself, I just show out the JSON. So this is the assistant output that we got, right? You have all the information, and we basically send it to LogCap. And if I were to go to the LogCap itself and see the run real quick from here, you're gonna see my LogCap. This is the JSON body. This is the body, the response, and it goes and sends out the comms. Then the communication comes as this, right? So as I said, I'm picky. I would rather see this type of output, like an examples, publish an artifact and everything, which is easy to read, right? Or I could send the JSON body directly. It's a choice. It's a choice, you know? Even for this hyperlink, I spent an hour to figure that out. I couldn't find the HTML body in the chat. There was a button that goes to HTML body, so you can write the HTML message. Right? It's nitty-gritty things that you can do in your project. Last one, for 2 minutes. Let's try another scenario. In my failed build pipeline, we made the web app deployment failed. Right now, just to showcase if it works, I'll just comment this out. I'll go with the bash script one. I'll open that up. I'll validate and save. Then I run my pipeline. So this is my Teams chat for now, for your reference. Let it run. My script failed with an exit one failure error, and the trigger AI stage will get completed, and it's gonna trigger the AI debug pipeline automatically. Hopefully.
What if you want to keep interacting with the response? You need to log with the same service account that you created the API token, and will it show it in history? And then you can keep interacting with the previous because it learns about what you did.
That probably not in this. You gotta. So I'm working on it. You gotta customize, or you can fine tune your model, right?
Mm-hmm.
You take the model. To be able to teach the model, what you need to do is in this project. If I think from your perspective, when my pipeline fails, when I get the failure error and when I get the output, I take that output, the response, send it to my model, and I have another prompt that says, hey, this is what I got, this is what you suggested, learn this, and make sure we can we can continue further in the next runs. Then your model knows what type of error you got, and even further, you can have your repository got taught and assessed by that model, so your model knows what's in your repository, right? I'm working on that. I'm working on fine-tuning a model, customizing your model with to make sure it can interact and know what is in your repository. So in that sense, I think it's doable.
Can you train it beforehand too by, let's say, providing documentation?
Yes,
Some
of course.
IDs now you can put documentation.
Let me show you here.
Index,
Yes,
and
you
you'll
see
do it.
here the file search.
Okay.
When you open the toggle down and when you add a vector store, what's happening is you can upload files, so AI can know. You can like pre-train this assistant to have an idea beforehand.
Right. Okay.
Yes. So my pipelines worked. Hopefully they worked. They did. First try. Right. So here, this is the bash. You can see my failed link, error explanation, suggested solution, and the code example if needed. Is there any questions about the demo before we jump into the quiz? I take it as a no. So, going back to my presentation, and after that, if you can just scan this barcode to join the quiz, that would be fun. I have a couple gifts for the top 3. First one, we'll get an artificial intelligence for dummies, a book. The second ones, we'll get a wall art about the IT, about the debugging. Like I like this debugging one. It's a hate or what's that?
The quiz is not open.
It's not open yet? Okay, let me do this.
That was AI's fault.
We're gonna do this. Actually, I'm gonna share this screen. But first, I need to close my presentation. Go this. Yes. If you can scan one more time, if you're not in, or just refresh if you
Yeah,
can.
now it's good.
It's good.
It seems to be good.
Please put in your name. No offense, nicknames. I know you. So we are 8 players, but we're more than 8, I guess. Sorry? You couldn't scan it? Why? Come closer if you want. Oh, sorry, my bad. I gotta go back. Now I understood. I gotta scan it one more time.
Yeah.
No problem.
Second.
Ricardo, you good?
Connection.
Yeah, it's connection
Yeah,
problem.
but yeah.
Exactly.
Are we all good? Everyone
So,
get it scanned? One more.
Give us a minute.
Give us a minute. What's happening?
is it because you go?
Probably,
Just
probably yes.
presentation.
So I'll go forward, then you
Yeah.
refresh it, or
Yeah,
you
no
see it right now. Okay.
Yeah.
Put in your name. We are
Okay,
14
ready.
players, which is a good number. Is there anyone who's joining, or shall we get started?
Okay.
All right, let's go. So if you answer fast, you get more points. Just so you know.
It feels like you have to move it straight.
Yes. Oh, the winner. I wonder who that is. I wonder who that is. Hopefully you're gonna win. Otherwise, I'll expose you.
You copy and paste the questions from ChatGPT and let it decide.
I trained it.
Exactly.
I trained it beforehand, please. These are not random questions about the presentation, nothing out of the presentation. Changed a lot. Key indicator for now. That was a tricky one.
Took too long.
So we don't debug the models, right? We train, build, and deploy the models. Debug is another stuff out of the model scope.
That was a trick question.
Oh, it was. It was indeed.
I pressed the wrong one this time. I read this one wrong.
Oh, this was.
I see. Nice.
I didn't expect this.
It's okay. It's okay. I'll take it.
Not bad. Okay.
Yeah, ready?
I'm not sure who the winner is, but you better to be quick. Last three. Thank you for listening me. Okay. Last, I think 3. Where's Azure Cognitive Services like? This was even when you Google this question, you're gonna see the answer. So basically, you provide like model catalog is your place to go for models, not the Azure OpenAI service, right?
The model catalog is part of it.
What's that?
The model catalog is part of
First.
You say far?
It's part of.
A part of? Yes, but it's the specific like part.
That question needs to be
Revised?
Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
Okay, it's dismissed.
Submit a change request.
What?
A PR for that.
For sure. For sure. All right, I think we're heading to last question, right? Yes. So the last one. For somehow we have 12 players left, where we had 15.
I can do this.
Huh? You're the AA. You selected A?
Yeah, I did.
Alright, let's see. The leadership. Okay, we have Meme here. Who? Ricardo. There you go. And we have Tarek, and we have, we have
You can skip.
Hero. I can skip you?
Yeah.
Okay, then we're gonna say Tarek is potentially first. Hero is second. Who's Hero? There, and who is Millie? Did I pronounce it right? Millie? Millie? Guys?
Who is? Come on.
Yeah.
Millie. Okay, let me show you guys. Maybe. Okay. Millie, this one, guys. No?
Oh my goodness.
It does automatic names sometimes.
I don't think so. Maybe it's someone.
Maybe it is me, but it
You don't know your nickname?
It would say it on your screen right now.
Yeah, I exited, so it might change. It was
Wow.
originally Ahmed, and then maybe after I exited, it changed.
Does anybody else see Millie? No. Then
There is no Ahmed, I think that's him.
Yeah.
yeah, I think this is you. Okay, so Tariq, Hero, and Millie. If you guys can come up here, I'll just give the gifts if you don't mind. Here, Tariq, Hero. Who's Hero?
Yeah.
You? You need to come. You need to come.
He gave us the questions, dear friends.
Tariq. No, not even. No.
I tried.
All right, if you guys can you take
I'll
a
take a picture,
picture?
I got
Just
1 second. Oh. Okay.
good. All right, and I'll get the hero for you. And
Three cheese. 8. Okay. One last one.
then I have the unknown Millie. You don't even know your nickname, bro.
I'm not sure if you won, but we got it.
Perfect. So that's the quiz, and we're here at the end with a Q&A. If you guys have any questions, recommendations, feedback, I always open to it. Other than that, thanks for Max, Dave, and the Central Logic for having me today here, and thanks for coming, showing up.
Thank you
I
very much.
appreciate you guys. Thank you.